While President Cyril Ramaphosa has ordered that several senior SAPS officers and EMPD officials be investigated, he's spared Ziyanda Ngcobo, the Minister on Special Leave, for now. 5 police officers implicated in the Madlanga report will be criminally investigated over alleged corruption and collusion with criminals. But Ramaphosa says he will wait for the commission to finish its investigation into allegations against Ngcobo before deciding on his fate. Senior politics reporter Ziyanda Ngcobo live for us from the commission where they're sitting in Pretoria. Good morning again, Ziyanda. We're hearing as well about a new witness today. It does seem as if the heat is on at the Madlanga Commission of Inquiry so soon after its resumption.
And the heat will be on insofar as looking into allegations of alleged collusion by South African police service members with these syndicates. And Jeremy Veary, as we pick up on that particular thought, I think it's a recurring theme, not only in the president's statements through the referrals that have been made, but just what we've heard this week in relation to Major General Lesitsha Senono, who was being grilled for 3 days. But perhaps if we could just talk about how, in many ways, you could argue that he was obfuscating and being deliberately obtuse. And Sesi Beloy and Commissioner, Khumalo really raising this issue sharply about very clear language, but acting as if he can't remember or he just doesn't know.
I think it's important to look at when I can't remember comes into the picture.
Yeah.
You see, it comes into the picture when you are under stress to explain something that might potentially implicate yourself. Then you can't remember. But you can remember perfectly when it's an innocent thing, when you recount. And I look for those patterns over a period as a person speaks. And I can see why the judges, because they are also beginning to see a pattern, I think. You know, some things are very clear, but when you tread into sensitive terrain, suddenly the memory goes. You know, I was listening yesterday to the whole explanation around the drug seizure and the disappearance after it. And then, you know, I start picking up some things are clear and then it gets obfuscated around the instruction.
Yes.
Well, we all know if you're in the police, any store or any facility for that matter, you would have a standing order or national instruction that governs very prescriptively how you inspect, when you inspect, who should inspect. And we even have a thing, we call it first level and second level inspections.
Yes.
So and second level inspections involve commanders.
So
the
it's
heads.
quite the thing to have
So
a whole KZN Hawkshead,
yes,
who deals with serious, and it's the Directorate for Priority,
yes,
crime investigations, being so careless, I think that's fair to say, careless about a consignment of 200 million rands worth of drugs.
Yes, it does concern me, and that, to my knowledge, that it's clearly that not even the first level inspection standard that we have in our standing orders on national was met. In a look at the instructions given, like the judge says, when you're around in the area, go around and check. Or the fact that General Senono, when it comes to second level inspection, the prescription, has never actually went to double check on his personnel, whether it is every week or every month to check that. And the big question is, was there a register, was there an occurrence book in which you must record those inspections? We don't have clarity on that. So I don't know, if you didn't apply the standing orders, if you didn't do first level 1 and level 2 inspections in our language in the police,
yes,
then it is what happened there. If I touch on face value, take what was described. is not, I don't even want to talk about incompetence, but it's gross negligence.
And I want to reflect on that as we just quickly go back to some of the issues around language that seem to be a part of a tactic, because that speaks to phase 2 and some of what we might have to contend with as those who've been implicated have to respond, but also this allegation of criminal infiltration and collusion becoming clearer and clearer, and as Jeremy had said, this tapestry that we're trying to put together. Listen to this.
General, that can't be, and you know it's not. Your language is very clear. I request that if things are favorable, let's finalize the contract. You know that's not a request. That's not a request for an update. It's not an inquiry. You know as you sit there that, in fact, what this is you're asking Mr. Matala, let's complete this contract. Let's do what is necessary to finalize it. You know that. And please accept that we also know what the English language you have used here means, because otherwise it's as if you're taking us for fools.
These breakings, from the actual theft, the last 2, they happened under my watch. And these top ones, all of them, they didn't happen under my watch. And I was not aware about them. The only ones that I'm aware of is these 2. Already, when this one of October happened, we gave directives that they must speedily finalize the investigation of these drugs, because we needed the Section 212 report in order for us to make a decision to dispose this. And these 2 are those breakings where I said the homeless people, where we say we saw the stone, they utilized a stone to break the kitchen window, of which we believe those people were looking for food. It was not something that was very, very serious that it can cause a concern. But I do see the paragraph 4.4 of General Musikidi, and based on what was presented before her, when she wrote this report, these things were presented before her. Hence, earlier,
continue, General.
Hence, earlier I said, if I knew about this series before, I wouldn't have maybe agreed it would.
So, Jeremy Veary, I couldn't help but think when I was listening in on that, and as we prepare for the new witness today, is how many Sononas could there be in other provinces possibly, and they may not even be the subject of a commission of inquiry? Money, power, and influence.
What we have heard so far in this commission gives us strong indications that almost most levels of the police are infiltrated and work for syndicates. Whether we're dealing with specialized units of detectives, and I know we all had lofty ideals around the Hawks, I think we're seeing the feet of clay of the structure now. And what is required really is pointing towards an overall cleanup. There's a famous expression in history that might apply. We need a night of the long knives now.
Yes.
This is calling for a night of the long knives. And the night of the long knives is a type of step where politicians have to step in, or the president for that matter, and clean house.
Yeah.
Whether it's the intelligence services, whether it's one special, whether it's the Hawks, it's time for that. And not only look, and the knives that you bring is not only to those directly implicated, but those whose negligence allowed certain things to happen. If I think about the store example now,
Yes,
for example,
and the layers.
General Musikedi is a detective.
Yes.
She goes and does an inspection. She gives instructions as to what must be done to improve that situation. it seems, on face value from what we're getting in a response from General Sanoma, that none of these things were complied with. And that, to me, is the big thing. So whether or not people are directly implicated or not, that level, the simple fact that people do not follow the standing orders or respect the systems that have been, processes that are put in place to prevent something like that, you know, is enough to bring out the long knives, I think, at this stage. And we must take that approach throughout all levels of structures. And
so
where the knives cut, it
yeah.
must cut wide.
And cutting perhaps would have to also begin with Acting Police Minister Firoz Cachalia. He certainly has his work cut out for him, in an acting capacity, no less.
Well, I don't know. Yeah, he probably has to swing the panga quite harder. Let's see what happens.
And he's probably the best placed person, I suppose, because he's been outside the system. Is that a fair assessment? Or he might have some difficulty navigating this insofar as understanding the culture, the systems, but also contending with the very real and urgent matters that are coming from this commission?
Yes, it will be a challenging thing, but what we must understand, one also needs a thinker that is not only going to bring about this night of the long lives from a tactical way, but somebody that looks at it that strategically, but not strategic in the way we in the police would think strategically, but strategically in the interests of the country. And if I look at the history of where Minister Cachalia comes from, he's able to apply the method of strategic intervention that is required now. You know, because if you ask us, we only look at the tactical stuff and we cut where we do, we stab where we stab, and that's it. But we never address the systemic issues. This man comes to the problem with a systemic mind, and his solutions are all encompassing and transversal beyond our, and that is what we need now.
And let's see what happens. As we've said, you said that historical saying, the night
of the long knives. Yes.
Yeah, and suppose the cutting of the generals and maybe many others within the South African Police Service and other aspects of law enforcement agencies is exactly what needs to happen going forward in the days and weeks to come. Iman?
Thanks, Ziyanda and Jeremy.